through another way, the carbohydrates are defined as polyhydroxyaldehyde or ketones are substances that hydrolyze to yield polyhydroxyaldehyde and ketones. As I have already discussed that when we classify the carbohydrate on the basis of hydrolysis, we get monomers, right? So, if polyhydroxyaldehyde or ketone are substances that hydrolyze to yield polyhydroxyaldehyde and ketones, there are three types of carbohydrate on the basis of hydrolysis of carbohydrates. One is monosaccharide, another is oligosaccharide, and the third one is polysaccharides, right? Monosaccharides are carbohydrates that cannot be monosaccharides are carbohydrates that cannot be hydrolysis to simple carbohydrates, right? I have already discussed with you. Suppose one of the best example is glucose, right? Glucose is one of the best example of monosaccharide. Another is disaccharide. Disaccharides can be hydrolyzed to two main monosaccharides. Disaccharides can be hydrolyzed to two monosaccharides. Oligosaccharides, when we hydrolyze the carbohydrates, that yield 2 to 10 monosaccharides on hydrolysis, that's called oligosaccharides, right? इसमें अगर हमारे पास सिर्फ दो मोनोमर्स अगर हासिल हो हाइड्रोलिसिस के नतीजे में, इसको डाइसैक्राइड कहेंगे, इसी तरह से ट्राइसैक्राइड्स. So overall, oligosaccharides are 2 to 10 monosaccharides get on hydrolysis. One of the best example is table sugar. Table sugar C12H22O11, which on hydrolysis lead to the formation of glucose and fructose, right? Polysaccharides, if on hydrolysis get more than 10 monosaccharides, are called polysaccharides. So suppose 1 maltose, if hydrolysis you get 2 moles of glucose, it means that this is a disaccharide or oligosaccharide. Similarly, 1 mole of sucrose, that is table sugar, that on hydrolysis lead to the formation of 1 glucose and 1 fructose. These both are monomers, right? Simple sugars that are the monomers. Similarly, 1 mole of starch or 1 mole of cellulose, that are the polysaccharides, lead to the formation of number of many moles of glucose, right? That n may be any figure जो 10 से ऊपर हो. So simple monosaccharide which cannot hydrolyze to simple carbohydrate, oligosaccharide which on hydrolysis we get 2 to 10 monosaccharides, that is called oligosaccharides. If there are 2 which hydrolysis of carbohydrates lead to yield 2 monosaccharides, that is called a disaccharide. If there is a 3, then it's called polysaccharides. So basically in oligosaccharide yield 2 to 10 monosaccharides, while in polysaccharides you get more than 10 monosaccharides on hydrolysis. Suppose if we cannot say exact figure, we can say N, that cellulose, starch, which are basically the storage of carbohydrates, right? They have multiple monomers. Okay. The question is how carbohydrate form, which is the basic source for plants and animals. What is the source of these carbohydrates? Carbohydrates are synthesized in plants by photosynthesis. And you know very well what is photosynthesis. When light from the sun is absorbed by chlorophyll, and chlorophyll is a chemical, right? It absorbs light from the sun, and this is converted to the energy necessary to biosynthesize carbohydrates. So light energy convert into chemical energy. So this energy is used to biosynthesize of carbohydrates. And we know that the plant take carbohydrate, carbon dioxide, and water, right? Carbon dioxide they are taking from air, while water they are taking from roots uh, through xylem phloem. And in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, they convert into carbohydrate, which is a source of food in plants as well as in animals. And as a byproduct, oxygen is produced, which is useful for human being. So this oxygen is responsible for human survival in this world, right? So carbohydrate act, how this oxygen act in human being. Carbohydrates as a respiratory repository of solar energy. The energy is released when animals or plant metabolize carbohydrates. Suppose the carbohydrate in the presence of oxygen, right, it metabolizes the carbohydrate. I have already discussed with you the detail of TCA cycle or citric acid cycle, how carbohydrate in the oxygen, it converts into carbon dioxide and water. As a result, we get energy. This energy we are getting in the form of ATPs. How we are getting this energy in from carbohydrate? That is the process I have already discussed. That is glycolysis and a TCA cycle, which is also called a citric acid cycle, right? TCA cycle, which is also called a citric acid cycle, that are the responsible to produce this energy. And there is a electron transport chain, which already discussed in our previous class. Much of the energy released by the oxidation of glucose is trapped in the molecule adenosine triphosphate, which is responsible of which is energy and responsible for working in our body. The phosphoric anhydride bond formed when adenosine triphosphate uh, is adenosine diphosphate, right? Adenosine diphosphate, ADP, is phosphorylated. Further, one addition more it is phosphorylated to make ATPs in the repository of this energy. The chemical energy is released when ATP is hydrolyzed or a new anhydric linkage is created. We have already discussed in TCA cycle and glycolysis. So in overall, in photosynthesis, in the presence of when carbon dioxide react with water, in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, we get carbohydrate, and oxygen is released, which is used both plants and living organisms as well as human beings. This carbohydrate act as a repository of solar energy, and the energy released when animals or plant metabolize this carbohydrate in the presence of oxygen, right? As a result, carbon dioxide and water, it convert into carbon dioxide and water. As a result, we get energy. And we know that respiration in human being as well as in plant, the intake of oxygen and given out of carbon dioxide. So the overall equation of respiration is this one, right? We get this energy in the form of ATPs and use in our body, right? Any question? So this is the simple formulation of ATPs, right? This is the simple formula of ATPs, and this is the formula of ADP. So ADP for the phosphorylate lead to get ATPs. Suppose this is carboxylic acid. When ATP react with this one, we get an acyl phosphate, right? We phosphorylate it in this way. Understand? So I have already discussed that monosaccharides, classification of monosaccharides. Monosaccharides are classified according to number of carbon atoms present in the molecules. That these monosaccharides may be 6 carbon, maybe 5 carbon, and the minimum one is maybe 3 carbons, right? That is glyceraldehyde. Any question till here? Any question?